Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time.
He's
Off
got
the
him.
left side. Dobbs is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Perfection. Expect nothing else. Do you like to make yourself a hot cup of coffee to start your day? We have both whole bean and grounded. Also great for all you iced coffee if not a hot kind of person. Even make yourself a frappe to quench your thirst. The best tasting coffee with espresso. It's only $18.99 plus taxes for a 12-ounce bag. Buy 1 to 5 bags and shipping is only $7. If you spend over $100, shipping is absolutely free.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to Ken and Ken in the morning, but we don't have another Ken today because he's decided to have a tree grow in his bedroom in his house that blew in through a storm. And then we got Rob with the ugly coffee mug down there. I got my better looking mug.
Nah.
U.S. Army Trump.
Yeah, poor Ken. He had a tree fall on his house.
Yeah, good morning, Moonstar.
So what's up, Moonscar? What's up, buddy? Oh, good.
So yeah,
Friday
it's a
morning.
Friday morning. It was always nice to wake up to changes to your streaming platform.
Yeah.
Our
Hey, did it come out by itself? Did it come out
No,
by
it
itself, or did you? Okay, I was just wondering. That's cool though. They give you a countdown clock now when you're waiting to start the show. So in other words, don't be late.
Yeah, now we have a don't be late meter. Geez, thanks Restream. But hey, so Aaron won last night.
Yeah. Oh my God. Even after they dropped the ball going in the end zone, that is like one of the most stupidest things I've ever seen in my life. Dude drops the ball and it goes out of the back of the end zone. What an idiot.
What about that one-handed catch?
No, that was nice. Look, there's highlights, but bro, come on, man. That's just dumb. Yeah, it was, right? That was a weird update. I'd like to thank Devontae Adams for coming back and scoring it. Yeah, I even said they're going to have a game they're going to get right, and then I had him out, and I forgot to put him in my lineup last night on one of my leagues. He went off for 18 points.
Yoli.
Fucking cocksucker.
Hey, but you got like Moonstar's reasoning. He's only happy because it made him money on a bet.
Right?
Yoli's with us early this morning. She's back to her normal schedule.
Make fast, dude. I'm on the show.
Uh-oh. Then we lose Rob for a minute. So, yeah,
Yeah,
good game last night. Jets, maybe, or I don't know if they're getting back on track, but they had a good game. Morning, JB. Was there, you said,
All right, well.
Oh, yeah, the update for Restream was weird. Yeah, now I'm tracking. Sorry about that. I honestly did not watch a lot of the game. I had a bunch of things going on here last night. But
this is gonna suck, bro.
And you knew the Jets had to get it right eventually. I guess eventually was last night. Adams gets his touchdown though, and the one-handed grab that was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a really good catch. Got it.
So yeah, that's how week 9 starts.
What's up, Yoli?
Do we have any? I don't think we had. I didn't see any other league updates as far as movement.
No, not that I can think of.
Vegas. Oh, where's Joe this morning? Vegas is not expected to make any moves in the trade deadline, per report that just came out in the Athletic a few minutes ago. That's it, man.
Yeah, you're right, Moonscar. Houston's interior O line is trash. I don't know what happened. They've fallen so far, man. They look so solid in the beginning of the year. Was that? Oh no, that's not 2 in a row. They won last week, but 2 out of the last 3 they lost.
I mean, every team's going to have a game or two they lose. Like, we act like teams aren't going to, like, here's the thing. It's like, okay, say they dropped their second game of the year to the Jets. Okay. I mean, if you're a Houston fan, should you be like, oh my God, concerned? Well, I mean, dude, they're going to lose games, right? I mean, look at the Bears game last week. Some of the Bears fans after the Commanders game were like, oh my God, fire the entire coaching staff, fire the GM, bench half the team. It's like, dude, it's a game, one game. You're still got a winning record. You're still in a good position in the standings. You're still where you thought you would be in the standings. You're still within reach of your season goal or prediction that you had. You're going to lose games. I mean, only one team has ever gone completely undefeated, right? A few other teams have come close.
Yeah.
You're going to lose games. It's not the end of the world when you lose a game. I mean, so if you're Houston, are you freaking out right now? No. You're just like, okay, they got us. We didn't play well. What were our mental lapses? You know, what injuries are hurting us?
I still think they win their division. So, I mean,
yeah. I mean, and guys, like, they have one bad game, or they, like, they have a bad game. Oh my God, this guy is trash now. No, he had a bad game. Maybe the other guy just has his number.
That's a good question, Moonscar. Is Tunsil still considered a top 10 tackle?
I'll have to look at the PFF grades when they come out. You know,
yeah. You guys live on them PFF grades. I get it. I mean, that does tell a lot, but
it's an indicator. I mean,
yeah, you're right. It's an indicator. I'll agree with that. It doesn't define the guy, but it does tell which direction he's playing in.
I mean, the problem that we have as fans is this: what do we have as indicators whether a guy is doing his job or not? Besides what we hey, good morning, Eric. It's 8 diamonds elevated this morning. Thank you. Hey, I gotta keep Eric in shape. I'm just helping him out. But it's one of the indicators we can look at. I mean, obviously, we don't know the locker room piece of it, the work ethic in the building piece of it. But one of the few indicators as fans we get to look at is how do they grade? Like, how does the PFF grade? Where are they at there? And then we can at least look at trends for tackles and missed tackles and some of the stats. That's all we really get. See, Eric knows. See, we're tracking, man. So it's a good indicator of play. However, in terms of,
I agree, Jeremy.
It's only a good indicator in terms of individual play, not in team play. I would say as an O-line, because like your guys could all grade pretty decent, but your O-line can still suck.
Yeah, if they don't gel together, they don't gel together.
Yeah, exactly, Rob. They're just like, all right, yeah, I got a bunch of all-stars, but
it's a team sport, man. That's why you got to work together. It's team sport. I guess for Houston, they still have their bye coming up to get right. Yeah. And like you said, yeah, bro, they're going to win their division. I mean, even if they backslide another game or something, I mean, it's that division's, who's in there? Was it Tennessee, the Colts? Who's the other one? It's weak.
That division for the AFC. The Jets division.
Are the Jets in their division? The
AFC South is pretty weak. It's the Colts. It's the Jags.
It's the Jags.
Houston, and it's who am I missing?
I thought Tennessee, right? Tennessee, yes, I say, yeah. So those four,
So
I couldn't think of the Jags. The Jags was the other team. I mean, I don't see those are like some of the. I mean, the Colts maybe give them a run because with Flacco taking over, I think that might actually happen.
and yeah,
Flacco
Josh,
makes the team better for some reason. I don't get it.
yeah, Josh, we did say it yesterday. You and I actually agreed on something. Look, it happened. The thing with that division, though, coming into the season, when you looked at the division, that division didn't look like it was going to be a weak division. Yet it's really weak. The
It's
East,
super weak.
the East, the Jets are kind of not out of it, but they're not really in it. They're hanging on by a thread. So there's still a because the AFC playoff picture is pretty weak. There is a road for them to get into the playoffs, but they gotta.
I just don't see I don't see the Texans collapsing like that.
No.
Stroud and them got way too much in there. Even with losing what's his name for the season, they got Nico coming back. I mean, he's not back this week though. I don't think, or he wasn't back this week.
They wasn't back.
Yeah. So
But
I mean,
well, the other thing that's interesting though at this point, I just saw there was an article that they said that Bryce Young, they weren't going to move Bryce Young out of Carolina. They were going to keep him. Now they're shopping him around to see what his value is at the trade deadline. Now, I'm wondering if this is the ownership or the GM, because the reason they have Bryce Young is because ownership got involved. Did he maybe learn his lesson and his GM is saying, hey, look, let me do it. Let football people do football things now. You just cut checks and own the team.
yeah, Mixon looks real good. I don't know why they didn't lean on him more last night. Crap. You should have lit the whole first half. You should have just leaned on him. That guy's a beast. I don't know why Cincinnati let him go. Tell you the truth.
Well,
I think that's why they're hurting like they are, because they missed that guy.
that's going to be this thing now with Bryce in Carolina, though. Are they actually going to trade him? I mean, why are you gauging interest to see his value on the trade market if you have no plans to trade your
If you're the GM over there, you already threw everything in last year after getting fleeced by the Bears. What do you do this year? You have already. I mean, do you try to go for another quarterback?
Well, that's why I asked the question. Good morning, Fred. That's why I asked the question yesterday. Like, okay, what are the quarterbacks looking like in the draft? And it looks like there's going to be 2 or 3 of them. And they're right now, Carolina is looking like they're going to have at least a top 2 or 3 pick minimum, right? So it's the situation is not too dissimilar from where Chicago was this year, right? It's not too dissimilar. The thing is, I think Fields is better than Bryce Young. So it's maybe a little bit of a harder situation for Poles, but I think we can all agree that Poles probably made the right decision in drafting Caleb Williams and trading away Justin Fields. But they're in a similar situation. So why not pull the trigger if you're Carolina? Because if you don't feel Bryce Young's the answer, if one of these, let's say one of the top 2 guys you're looking at, if you feel that they're better than Bryce Young is today and have a better upside, then you do what Poles did. You draft the quarterback on the draft. You get the guy in the draft, and you trade the guy on your roster and get some kind of compensation. But the problem that Carolina has that Poles didn't have, Poles already had a ton of pieces on that team, right? He had a pretty stout defense. He added a bunch of offensive weapons. We already had Cole Kmet on the roster, DJ Moore on the roster. We had Roshan on the roster. We had Khalil Herbert on the roster. And then before the trade, when free agency, we added Swift and Keenan Allen, and so the Bears were a little more ready-made for a quarterback minus the offensive line. Carolina doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Thielen will probably be back next year. Okay, fine, but
it's like they don't have a plan.
No,
they don't have a plan. They just drafting guys and then not figuring out how to protect them, not figuring out how to utilize them properly. I mean, you need a plan. You got to have somebody with a plan inside there.
And Josh says, look, Don't nobody want Young, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
too small. Panthers are stuck with him. And you know what? He could be right there. Josh could be right because Fields at least had some buzz because he can run. He can throw the ball deep. He's got a beautiful deep ball. People just question like his ability to read a defense and maybe some decision making when he's hurried. But what are people saying about Young that like what makes Young attractive to trade for him? I mean, would the Raiders do it? They need a quarterback bad. I don't even think the Raiders would take a spin at. You know what I mean? So the market for Bryce Young isn't really. Do they just cut him and draft a quarterback? I mean, you think dude, talk about throwing away a number one pick.
I know. Got fleeced and throw away the number one pick. What the fuck?
So
It's
I guess
like back-to-back fleecings.
I guess here's the question: is it safe to say now that the Bears completely fleeced, robbed? They completely dominated that trade?
Oh yeah. No.
Because
Look, the
some
Bears
people
came
are like,
out
"Oh,
of
we
it
got
good.
away."
How many picks did you guys get out of it?
Well, we
2
got
ones, right? 2 ones.
uh,
Oh, you got DJ Moore plus.
we got DJ Moore, plus we got the pick that ended up being Tyreek Stevenson, plus we got the pick that was Caleb. We got their second round pick this year, and we got one other pick that ended up being a starter as well. Yeah. So yeah, we and I think the fourth rounder we traded ended up being Keenan Allen. So,
I mean, you guys utilized your picks well. I mean, you guys built a lot. So, I mean, that's why you're in the position you're in right now. Honestly, you're not. I mean, you're in last place, but you're not with a losing record, which is amazing to me. How you're in last
I know
place,
you're like you have a winning record and you're in last place.
and you're in last place.
Darnell Wright was organic for us though. Well, no, okay, Darnell Wright we got with the pick that we got from Carolina in that same draft. So I guess you can count that as part of the deal, but we've had a first rounder anyways. But yeah, Darnell Wright, who's our starting right tackle. We used the Carolina first round pick that we got to give him ours for him. So I guess you do include him in there. So yeah, Darnell Wright. Look at the Bears are really just maybe a right guard, maybe just a right guard away from being a much better football team. The offensive line is really the only true weakness on that Bears team right now, I think. Well, defensively, they could be a little better against the run. But I mean, yeah, Carolina is not there yet. I mean, so if you move on from Bryce Young in Carolina, are you just saying strip it all down and start from scratch?
I mean, they got to do something, man. But they got to get a plan first. I mean, they got to get somebody in there with a vision to see where the team's going. I mean, they look leaderless. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, Thielen was their leader, but he's out for the year.
Yeah. I don't know. Bengals, I wouldn't want to be a Panther right now. That's for sure.
No. And Josh, the Bengals' problem is their front office. I think the Bengals' problem isn't necessarily the players they have. It's the front office and the contract situation, and that has bled into the locker room and created a negative atmosphere that's made it harder for them to perform as a team.
Yeah. Plus getting rid of Mixon, I'm telling you. Getting rid of your run game is just horrible.
I think part of that is there contractual issues with management. And now you got players like, well, the management doesn't care about us and they're not going to pay us. And it affects, I think, the product on the field. They don't play on the field, Josh, but they affect the product for sure. It's like, okay, I don't know what you do for work, but let's say if you're company higher ups, well, we're not going to give you all pay raises.
Yeah.
That affects the work at your level.
Well, and then you have the employees saying, "Look, I want a raise, or I'm not going to perform."
Yeah,
taking. I mean,
I'm just
That's
going to
not
match
good for your
my
locker
minimum.
room. Those guys were all sitting down while the rest of the team was in camp. I mean, that's why they're slow getting going. Like, T. Higgins, those guys, they're
Yeah.
slow getting in because they weren't in camp. They weren't there for all the practice. They weren't there, and it does affect the team. Maybe not as big a way as you want it to, but it still affects everything, man. So the Panthers
I
have
don't know
their
if
own
necessarily.
Dan Snyder. Oh, that's true. That's it, A-Dub. That's the whole crux of it. Like I said, leaderless. They got a Dan Snyder in there that's just running it into the ground.
This is where I wish we had our good friend who we can't see right now, because he lives in that area.
Yeah.
If I'm sure he's watching, maybe he's commenting on YouTube, and someone can funnel his comments to us. But I know that Carolina fans, I don't believe, like the owner at all. I don't know if he's at Dan Snyder levels yet, but yeah, I mean, effectively, when he told them don't draft Stroud, you must draft Young. But here's the question, though: if they had drafted Stroud, how much different would it really be in Carolina? How different would it be in Carolina with that team having nothing else? Yeah, the Bengals have always been cheap. But I mean, they're also up on the cap space against the cap space too. But still, we all know they if they want to find the money, they find a way to work the money. Dan Morgan told they didn't fix AJB. They didn't fix the one issue we had with Restream. The back end of your comment cut off. Let me open up the other thing here. Dan Morgan told Seaford to let him do his job. Okay. Well, hopefully he's let him do his job, because these owners, man, they're not Al Davis, man. It keeps cutting yours off there, JV. I don't know why. Yeah, with their O-line, like if they had drafted Stroud, would it be any different? I mean, it's Fred. Actually, yeah, the whole Mahomes things with Chicago. If Mitch Trubisky had gone to Kansas City and Mahomes had gone to Chicago, would it be any different in either of those cities today? Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Trubisky's as good as Mahomes, but if Mahomes had come to Chicago, he would probably be somewhere else already. Because without the other pieces, it almost doesn't matter.
I got a fair question for you, because we're 8 weeks in. Do you think the Bears made the right decision moving on from Fields and going with Caleb? I mean, you've seen he's. So,
I do.
I mean, I think you guys did the right thing. I think he's got more potential than Fields has, and I think he's already shown that he's going to be better. I think you guys just got to give him his time, and you're going to have a great quarterback. You guys are going to have at least somebody who's going to set records for you anyway. You're in your organization.
And Fred, you made a great point, though. I mean, it is a great point, though, because without the other pieces, it doesn't matter how good the quarterback is you draft. I think the reason why Caleb is doing better than Fields in his rookie year, well, first off, he's a better talent than Fields, yes, but also he's got better talent around him than what Fields had. Like, he's got better receivers. He's got better running backs. Well, I mean, Fields actually had a pretty good running back room when he got there. Actually, Caleb's O-line is worse than what Fields had in some regard. Like our running game is terrible this year because the run block is we went from one of the best run blocks in the league to one of the worst.
Fields was the victim of you guys' regime change, of having a different. You know what I'm saying? That he's a
little
victim
bit of that. But then, like when I look, yeah, exactly. Isaac, boom, nailed it.
Yeah.
He's always looking to throw the ball downfield and not run.
Yeah.
Even when he's scrambling on the pocket, you're like, dude, just take off.
He doesn't cross the line of scrimmage. I notice he pulls up when he gets close to the line of scrimmage.
Because he's always looking. And when he says, okay, there just isn't anything, I got to get something, he goes. If there's any one thing I would change about Caleb's play is every so often, it's like, dude, just go. Just go. Every so often.
Look, when you're running towards the line, you have to understand you only got until you get to the line to make that decision. So you should already know, if I get to the line, I'm going to go. Just don't wait. If you don't see it before you get to the line, just tuck it and go.
And I'd agree with A-Dub's comment, too. I think that there's a QB development problem league-wide. And the thing is, like, Stroud's a good talent. They didn't really develop him much. They didn't have to. Um, Caleb is a good talent. They didn't have to develop him as much, but Caleb still needs some development. Like we like that. Like Rob said, when he gets to the line, he kind of slows up. I wish at times he would just go, and
Yeah.
that's something he's going to learn. He's still learning what situations where he just needs to go. Like
It's all being a
third
rookie, bro. It's all being
yeah,
a rookie.
it's all being a rookie, so he's developing. But I don't think Then you got to ask your question of guys like Stroud and Caleb Williams. Are they developing because of coaching, or are they developing because they're just that talented and have enough talent around them that they're naturally growing? So then it begs the question: how many of these really good quarterbacks we have in the league, your Joe Burrows, your Aaron Rodgers type, you know, became really good because they were developed and had good coaching, or they developed because they had the time to do so naturally? Like, is Jordan Love a good quarterback because he was developed, or is he a good quarterback because he had time to grow with what he already had and learn it and just learn from being there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's a fine line there. Like, at what point was there a coach in his ear telling him something versus him just learning on his own from doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I agree with A-Dub. I think there is a development problem. And some of the guys where it gets buried because you get guys like Caleb, you get guys like Stroud who just develop well on their own.
Well, and
They learn from their mistakes.
I think that's only a rare case though, because some guys,
It is.
I think they hype themselves up so much so it could be like, oh, I got to make myself look so good so someone will take me, they'll give me the most money. And then, when you're put on the spot, if you don't produce, it's going to be, this is the pros, man. You're going to be found out really quick. There's no faking it here. There's just no faking it. Caleb, if he couldn't hold up all that hype and all that bullshit that was going on in the beginning,
Before I want to address that, but I want to take a look at Fred's comment real quick. The other thing people need to understand is that teams draft the first QB, but does that QB's play style fit your offensive play style? And that's another great point. Sometimes, they've got a roster built, the quarterback they draft doesn't fit the roster they've built.
right.
And I think Justin Fields was a little part of that. And I think Caleb is getting a little part of that too, because they, the last 2 years or so, they went to build a line that would maybe help Justin. And it isn't maybe particularly right for Caleb. Look, I think the Bears' only thing they really have to fix is their O-line. And I don't even really think the O-line personnel-wise, it's not that they're not good. It's that the Bears have not started the same front, five, I don't think, in back-to-back games. Bears never start the same five guys. There's always someone hurt. I think for the Bears, I think they've got some. I think Poles. I understand now more what Poles was saying at the end of camp. Like, he's happy with the O-line. Maybe he's happy with the personnel, but some of the personnel hasn't been there because of injury, and they're coming back this week. A few of them. So they have work to do. I just don't know how much work they've got to do. Does that make sense? Like, is it one guy? Is it two guys? But Fred's comment is on point, because sometimes they're drafting a quarterback that doesn't fit their play style. Like, you've got a pocket quarterback offense, and then you go get a Justin Fields runner. So yeah, you've got a Moonscar. You got to design the offense around the quarterback. And I think that in the Bears' case this year, look, I'm happy with 4-3. Don't get it twisted. I'm happy where they are right now. I'm happy with Shane Waldron too, because he's doing exactly what Moonscar is talking about. He's starting to shape the offense around Caleb's talents. You're starting to see that adjustment. The Packers do a good job of making their, crafting their offense around Jordan Love's talents. So, as the Bears go to week 9 here against the Cards, Isaac, you're right. It's going to be an interesting matchup. We still got some injuries on defense. I'm concerned, but I'm as concerned because they did really well against Washington last week with the defensive backfield injuries the Bears had. Goff is a good example. Yeah, they've catered their offense around Jared Goff, and look how well he's doing. And running quarterbacks age like milk. I like that, Josh. So that's good. But when you look at Caleb Williams, I look at the Bears did. I think the Bears finally found the guy. I mean, and what I really like about him, Rob, is this: when he does a press conference, I remember how everyone was saying, "Oh, he's all braggadocious. He's got the big ego, and he's a diva." Have you seen his press conferences?
I mean, no, I don't
His
pay attention.
his press conferences, like he's like, "I've got to do this better. I've got to do that better." He doesn't say my offensive line sucks, like a certain quarterback in college who's going to be a high draft pick next year. He comes
I
out
wouldn't
and he
say
says,
that at all, ever.
Sanders said that. It
Really?
went
He said
viral.
that?
He said that earlier. He was like, my offensive line was terrible today. But Caleb has always looked say, hey, here's where I got to get. Even after a big game, yeah, I mean, that was good, but I still got to improve here. Right? And that's, I think that's the thing where they got, okay, so with Luka, I would not necessarily say that. Dude, his defense is phenomenal. He's not an offensive play caller. That's obvious. He lets Shane Waldron do it. I think Shane Waldron is figuring it out with what he's got. I think the problem when you look at the North is I think all the coaching staffs in the North right now are pretty damn good. Like, I think they're all pretty damn good. They all have their little weaknesses, but they're pretty solid. I don't think the Bears make any kind of coaching change. Look, if the Bears win 9 to 10 games, I don't think there's any coaching changes at all in Chicago. At all, none.
Yeah, no, I don't see that. If you guys do better than your last year's, I mean, yeah, that's he's moving up. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I mean, right now the players don't look like they're going against them. So,
well, there are some reports because the guys who want to get clicks are trying to make it sound like he's lost the players, but he's kind of Phil Jackson like I don't know. I mean, we'll see how this thing plays out, but I don't think he's lost the players because the team plays hard. They've played hard in the field, but when Cole Kmet comes and says, well, some guys are starting to slough off, that I think that's just where now we'll see how good of a head coach he is. Does he make the correction? Right? If Cole Kmet can come out and say the team is slacking and DJ Moore's and say, well, we're not really okay, so now does Flus make the correction? And if he does, which I think he will, I think they're fine. Once again, though, Luka, you can only work with what you've got on your O-line. If your O-line isn't protecting you, it really doesn't matter who the coach is.
And there's one thing I did see out there that I don't agree with yet. And I mean, I'm not saying it won't happen, but everybody's comparing the whole Trubisky Mahomes thing with the Caleb and Daniels thing. I don't think you guys, it's that, I think you're going to be fine with Caleb. I don't think it's like Daniel's going to be this great thing. I just don't see it. One lucky pass doesn't make a guy a fucking messiah. He doesn't make him a Mahomes.
Wait, Caleb.
There's talk of people saying they're comparing it to that you guys should have took Daniels instead of
Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at sometimes you look at the draft, like look at the wide receiver class. The top 3 guys, all 3 are really good. You'd be happy with any one of those 3 guys on your team, whether it's Rome, Neighbors, Marvin Harrison. I think you're happy with any of them. They're all going to have really good careers. I think with Jaden Daniels and Caleb, I think the way it's looking now, both are going to have great careers. When I was at the game, like Commander fans had nothing but praise for Caleb Williams. Had nothing but praise. And the consensus was that we're going to be able to watch these 2 guys. They were like, dude, we're going to be able to watch these 2 guys play against each other for the next, 10, 15 years, and it's going to be freaking awesome. That was the kind of...
I'm not saying Daniels isn't good. I'm just saying, is he Mahomes good? Did the Bears make the same mistake? They took Trubisky instead of Mahomes. They took Caleb instead of Daniels. I mean, bro, maybe the Trubisky over Mahomes thing, you might have something, but I don't think it's the same thing here. People are already saying that it is, and I don't,
Oh,
I
it's
don't
not
think,
even close. I agree with
I
you,
don't
bro.
think
I
that.
don't, I
I
don't
don't
think it's
think
close.
that.
Because let's look at they're at one Matt. Okay, they have one head-to-head. The Commanders win on a lucky Hail Mary. Let's look at that game. I mean, everyone's going to say Daniels had this great game. He had this great game. Yet it was Caleb who drove his team down when it counted to the red zone, not once but twice, back to back, and put them on the 1 yard line, and then put them up to win the game with 30 seconds left. When Daniels had the chance after the fumble, right? He had a chance to drive him down the field and end that game. He failed, and Caleb then picked up the ball, took the Bears back down the field, and put him in the end zone, and then converted. So if you really want to look at it, when the game was on the line, Caleb played better than Jaden Daniels did. Jaden Daniels wins the game on a lucky Hail Mary.
I'm not going to go that far because Caleb didn't show up for 3 quarters.
But
That's
fine though. I mean, I'm not saying that he's like better than Daniels because of it, but I'm saying that's but you can you take what you just said. Daniels in the first 3 quarters outplayed him, but then at the end of the game, Caleb put his team in the position to win. They both did a really
I'm not
good
saying
job.
that isn't the case, but then Daniel
Right.
stole the show back with that fucking Hail Mary.
Well,
Bro.
with the
I'm
Hail
just
Mary,
saying,
right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we're
bro.
making the same argument here. We're both saying that it's not Trubisky Mahomes. I mean, both these kids are really good. It's just
All right.
because if you look,
I think Caleb's potential is way higher than Trubisky's. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah, I think Caleb's potential might even eclipse Daniels. They're both really good.
I'm not going to go there and say that they're both starting out at the same time. Let's just see where they are in 3 years and then 5 years, and we'll see. I mean, they're going to.
I think that Daniels is benefiting from a better offensive line right now. So,
it's okay. Ken. Look at Joe.
Yeah, but I don't think Daniels is better than Caleb. I really don't think he's better than Caleb. I think they're both pretty darn close. I like to see, if Williams got the same protection Daniels is getting, I think you might say the opposite. Put that it's close. I'm not gonna say that Daniels isn't good. He is really good, and it's close. But look, we're going to watch these guys. These are going to be this quarterback class with Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix. We don't know about J.J. McCarthy yet, obviously. With the what's his name that they drafted up there in New England, brain farting right now. This draft class of quarterbacks that we were told the year previous, right? Because remember when Young and Stroud, this is the best quarterback class we're going to see for a couple years. Well, look at this quarterback class. I think is eclipsing the previous. I think you've got this quarterback class. We already know at least 3 bona fide starters. This quarterback class, first round quarterback class. Daniels, Williams, and Bo Nix are all certified NFL starting quarterbacks. J.J. McCarthy, we have to wait another year, right? Yeah. What's his name? The kid that they drafted up in New England, Drake May. We'll see what happens with him, right? You didn't see it live, JB.
You guys all know how it goes, man. You that's just one matchup. When they're going to play again, you're going to, I mean, you guys, I understand. Daniels won the first matchup. You're absolutely correct.
Yep.
But they don't play each other. They play the defense. So the Washington defense beat the shit out of Caleb. And the Bear defense did keep Daniels from scoring, but did not stop him from moving up and down the field. You guys did. Yeah. You had to bend, but don't break shit. You gave up the field goals because they were close enough, but you didn't give up the scores. And that's why you guys had a chance in the end. Had Daniels put touchdowns, if he's so great, he would have put scores on.
Yep, just exactly. And Caleb did when it counted. Yeah, Penix, we don't know about Penix yet. So this draft class, though, could be one of those draft classes 10 years from now. 4 or 5 of these guys are still starting in the league. Well, maybe 5. We'll go 5 years from now. 5-6 years from now, I mean, Penix, May, Nick, all these guys, they may still be in the league. And they may be starting at a high level. So I think this draft class actually ended up being really good. This next draft class, and that's just, if you're Carolina, man, you really got to be like, man, You mean
That's backstrap.
you mean that we passed on this draft class of quarterbacks that is killing it this year? You know,
Yeah.
Josh. Yeah, I mean,
Wasn't
look, we can talk about the Cardinals Bears matchup a little bit. They're not dissimilar. I think the Bears have a better defense, but the Cardinals have a good run game, which the Bears have not looked good at this year stopping. Um, Defensively, their pass rush isn't that good, which is good for us because our pass defense, our pass block isn't that good. Um, so I think it'll be interesting to see how the Bears bounce back this week. The Bears need to win this game this week. They need to win this game.
Yeah, you don't want to fall to 500. You don't want to be, that
No,
you don't want to do it.
they need to win this game for multiple reasons.
Put the
Uh,
Keebler Elf in his place. You'll have the other Ken crying because that's his quarterback. It's my quarterback.
Bo Nix.
No, you guys
Oh,
play.
the Keebler Elf. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Keebler
the
Elf.
Keebler. Yeah.
And the thing with him is he can run the Bears defense. Like I think that was the other thing with this matchup that we just saw last week. The Bears did not think Jaden Daniels was going to run as much as he did, and I think they didn't scheme for it, and so he burned them on a couple plays. I don't think Kyler Murray's going to get that. They're going to have a spy on him. It's going to be Jack Sanborn or something like
You
that.
need to contain them. That's going to be the key because they watch the Washington do that to you. You got to have to.
And with Washington, though, I don't think they game planned for it defensively. To be honest with you,
No, I
think
totally
they didn't
agree.
think Jaden Daniels was going to run as much as he did.
Yeah, because of broke ribs. I wouldn't have.
Yeah, they thought, he's got broke ribs. He's not going to run. So they didn't scheme for that, and it cost them a couple of times where they could have gotten off the field.
I agree, Jeremy. He does look good.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Penix actually gets on the field at all this year. Yeah, Penix will be like Hooker and not see the field till they're 30.
I mean, but that's what you do. I mean, are you guys going to put Hooker in over fucking Goff right now? I mean, look, if you guys would have moved out for Goff, you wouldn't be seeing what you're seeing right now. That's for sure.
But you know what, though? I think that speaks to how fan bases and maybe some podcasters overreact to drafting. Like when they got Hendon Hooker, oh my God, Hooker is so good, and blah 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 blah, and all this rhetoric about what a great pick it was to take Hooker, and this, that, and the other, and the fans like, oh my God, and even last year, remember there was, we need to bench Goff and go with Hooker. And it's like he's a backup.
I mean, that's why you trust the coaches to make the right decisions and make those that, like we trust Goody. I mean, that's, you have to trust the guys that are above you, that they're running your team, to know what they're doing. And if you look at Detroit, they look like they know what they're doing.
If you draft a quarterback in the third or fourth round, you're not drafting to be your starter in the next year or two, most likely. If you draft a quarterback in the first round, he's either going to start that year or within 2 years. 2 to 3 years is what max, right? If you get a guy in the third or fourth round, you're drafting him to be a backup and hope he has the potential to become a starter. I mean, let's be real about it. And it's weird because you got this gray area called the second round where not many quarterbacks seem to get drafted, right? It's like they either go in the first round and then they don't see quarterbacks until maybe the third or the fourth. But I mean, when you're drafting a quarterback in the first round, I think the expectation is from ownerships and fan bases that quarterback is your starting quarterback, if not immediately within 2 to 3 years max, right? If you draft a quarterback outside of the first round, then he's basically a backup that you hope will have potential to become a starter down the road.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Well, back in the day, man, when I started watching football, I don't care where you got drafted. Your ass did not see the field. You know what I'm saying? You did not see. We got a Joe in the back.
You bringing him in?
Yeah, I get it. I'm getting him. You didn't see the field. I don't care if you were a first round pick. You didn't see the field for 2 or 3 seasons. That's how just in my era, watching when I first, So when I see these guys coming out, I mean, well, Caleb, he's under a lot of pressure. I mean, the amount of pressure that guy's under. Daniels too. All those guys that were all those rookie quarterbacks who got the weight of the team, the weight of the fans. Social media is even worse today. Holy fuck!
I would say Jaden Daniels had less pressure on him coming into the season than Caleb, because with all the moves that Foles did, the fans in Chicago and the media expected the world day one. I don't think Jaden Daniels had those expectations put on him in Washington, because no one expected Washington to be good. They expected it to be kind of like a rebuild year, right? And it would be okay, so
we all said that. We all
yeah,
thought
so
they were
Jaden
crazy for not
Daniels-
putting no offensive line around them.
We thought
Jaden-
they were going to be in the basement, dude. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think Jaden Daniels had the pressures put on him. Caleb Williams had the Messiah put on him. You're the Messiah.
Yes, but that's kind of flipped though a little bit now. But I mean, because in the beginning that was the case. I think there's a lot of pressure on Daniels. I mean, he's balling out, so now people are going to expect that.
But that's a good pressure compared to that. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Because also that's also a pressure that's been earned, right? Not like Caleb had that from the second he got drafted. The pressure was there. Like, you are going to be the savior. You are going to save this team. You're going to make us this, that, and the other. And he's had that pressure. Whereas Daniel's like, the pressure wasn't there. Now the expectation is there, but that's because they, as a team, have performed well in one game. Whereas Caleb, you would have thought that he'd already won a Super Bowl, before he even got to the NFL. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
but I also agree with Rob. I think that now the pressure has kind of switched, because now it's like they've seen that Jaden Daniels is good, so now they expect him to be good. And like Caleb has not, he's growing. Let's just say he hasn't shown the same ability in his rookie year as Jaden. So people are starting to wonder, like, well, or they're just making less expectations, right? Saying like, hey, maybe Bears fans are reanalyzing it, saying, hey, maybe
I would disagree with that, Joe. I don't think they are with him. I think that expectations are still there, but but I think Bear fans still expect a lot out of him. But where I'll agree with you is like the expectations maybe are lowered a little bit, but not because of Caleb. They're lowered because Bears fans are realizing we don't have an offensive line. The kid can't throw, but the kid still makes a lot of amazing plays, still does a lot of amazing things. We still expect him to do things, but now it's mitigated for the fact that the Bears' offensive line has been atrocious all year, because that's always the main talk point. I don't think Bears fans are going, "Oh, we made a mistake with Caleb."
No, that wasn't what I was saying.
Right, but
I wasn't saying that they're like, "Oh, we drafted a bust." I was saying like they're thinking like, you know what? Maybe we were expecting too much, expecting this kid to come in and take us deep in the playoffs his first year with, you know what I mean? Like, because you guys had not necessarily you've always said 10, if you got to 10 wins, you'd be happy. But a lot of Bears fans, with the squad that you guys had, a lot of Bears fans are like, it's fucking Super Bowl or bust, baby. Like,
well, that's those are the fans who aren't realistic to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
but I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Joe, real quick. Do you see the comment from Jeremy? Timu Joe Rogan is fucking hilarious. He calls you the Timu Joe Rogan.
Hey, Dominic is in the comments today too.
I know. I said what's up, but what I think is what those Bear fans, I think they see Caleb still is their guy, but I think they're blaming they're blaming Flus now. They're blaming their coach. They think you got the pieces. They think they're there, but they're blaming the coach. I hear a lot of people saying if Flus don't get us in, he's the guy they're going to cut. That's what
I don't know if we'll be happy with 500. I think we want to be 9-8, not 8-9, because there is no more 500. I think we're happy.
You guys
finished
with 7 wins last year. I think you need at least 9.
Yeah, I think we're happy with that. And the thing is, like, I get what you're saying there too, Rob, about they're blaming Flus, but really the focus needs to be laser focused on one area: the offensive line. That is the Achilles heel of this team. That's the Achilles. And if I want to look at maybe where Flus, I could argue that Flus needs to do better. It's some of the defensive stuff this year. Why has the run defense gotten that much worse? Why are we so bad against the run compared to last year? But and why have there been some of these mental lapses? His going for it. Why'd you run the backup center run play? I mean, I get it. You practiced it all week. It looked good, but that's one of those plays though. Look, if the backup center takes the ball in the end zone, everyone's like, "Oh my God, what a great thing!" Right? But because the guy flubs the play, oh my God, Flus is making bad choices. So I think a lot of the outcry that you get from the fans about in some of the sports media about Flus, the sports media are going to do it because they know it's going to get clicks and something that's going to generate buzz and get people on their posts and making comments, and they're going to generate revenue. I don't think Flus is doing a bad
kind of
job
agree
overall.
with Joseph. I kind of agree with Joseph here, except I don't think the Bears are going to fire Eberflus, but I do think that they should possibly look into a new offensive coordinator and a new system.
No,
you don't think so? Look,
no. Why?
I'll just give you a comparison.
You're going to have your third offensive coordinator in 3 years. I mean, that's part of the problem. Part of the cycle with the Bears quarterback situation has been this: they get a quarterback, he's there after his rookie year. Then every last one of them after the rookie year gets a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
No, stick with them. Shane Waldron is doing a good job overall. The offensive line is the focal point and is the problem. And you've watched Shane Waldron's play calling evolve. You've watched the design of the offense evolve as the season's gone on. Like if you look at the first part of the year, he basically went to players he knew from the Seattle days. Now he's starting to go to other players because as he's learning them and they're learning him. I don't think there's any coaching changes at all in Chicago next year unless they completely shit the bed and win one more game the entire year. If they win 7 or more games, they basically have to win 3 more games. If they win at least 3 more games, I don't think there's any coaching changes whatsoever. Even the O-line coach, I think he's doing okay. He's doing really good. Look at the Bears O-line. It's like I said earlier, they believe they have a lot of the right personnel, but they've had to patchwork the O-line all year because of injury. Right? So, I mean, I don't think they're going to change. There's going to be a new OC. I don't think they're going to fire Flus. I don't think there's going to be a new DC. I don't think there's going to be many coaching changes, if any at all, in Chicago. Shane Waldron is doing a good job. That offense is growing.
Look at the Commanders, right? Like last started, we all were talking about how we thought they were going to be in the basement because their offensive line last season, their offensive line was the worst in football, right? Sam Howell got absolutely killed over there.
Right. And now they're a much better offensive line.
We didn't see them do anything that I didn't see them address their offensive line in any huge meaningful way. So they're trotting out almost the same offensive line. Let's say I'm not sure if they got somebody, but I know they didn't replace their entire offensive line. Right.
They made change.
So they got Cliff Kingsbury, and all of a sudden they're winning games, right? Despite the fact that their offensive line still isn't one of the top lines in football or anything.
Their offensive line last year they were the worst. Now they're in the middle of the pack. That's a huge jump.
That is a huge jump. But are they doing that with the same personnel though? Is what I'm saying.
No, they changed the personnel. And I'm not going to say Kingsbury's offense doesn't have an impact. It does. But Shane Waldron, look at this Bears offensive line is just as bad as it was last year. Right? In some ways, maybe worse with the running game for whatever reason. But their passing game is much improved over last year. So if there's any coach I would change in Chicago at best, it'd be the O-line coach. But they've got some personnel issues there, I believe, more than anything. And Shane Waldron, and you've got to give Waldron Flus 2 years with Caleb. And if it doesn't get to where it needs to be by then you could justify the change. But part of breaking the cycle, the quarterback cycle in Chicago, is keeping the OC and the head coach for at least 2 years with the kid.
I understand
You know what I
that,
mean?
especially as
that's
a
part of
Raider
the
fan.
cycle.
As a Raider fan, I definitely understand that because we've hired and fired coaches every year, and we've had the same results. The one thing I'll say is that so last year the Raiders had a pretty decent offensive line when it came to run blocking. They were a pretty good running team, and now like you see the Raiders are probably the worst rushing team in the league, but we have the same personnel. Like, only one thing has changed, and that's the right tackle. And it's like, of course, you know what I'm getting
And
at,
the
right?
talent at running back changed too.
Well, running back changed too. But my point is, I'm not expecting us to be like a top rushing team. But
Right.
Luke Getsy last year we ran a power run scheme, and Luke Getsy decided that we needed to run a zone run scheme, and now all of a sudden we're the worst rushing team in the league, right? So
I think Luke Getsy, though, you can make a better case for him to be one and done because you'll probably have a new quarterback, and then you can start fresh. I think with Shane Waldron, it's different because you've got this is your year with your brand new quarterback, and you got to give him 2 years. If you guys draft a quarterback or get a new quarterback in that system, it's a perfect excuse then to get a new OC. If AOC is going to be the guy going forward, they might stick with Getsy for another year.
he's not going to be the guy.
I know, but you see what I'm saying, though? If they
No,
want
yeah, I
to
get what
see
you're
how
saying.
because they don't want AOC to have 3 coordinators in 3 years and then toss them a good quarterback aside because they can't figure out the coaching. They want to give it the full look, if you will. I think I'm not saying that Eberflus couldn't get fired in Chicago. It is possible if they just completely shit the bed, right? Then it's possible. But I can tell you right now, Ryan Poles has already said his intent is to break the cycle. And when he says break the cycle, that means you keep the rookie quarterback with the head coach and the offensive coordinator for at least 2 years. That's breaking the cycle.
Yeah.
So unless
Yeah.
they completely shit the bed, the wheels fall off, and there's no mitigating circumstances, and Ryan Poles can say no, these guys were terrible coaches this year. I don't see them being relieved of their duties. And right now, Poles will probably take the hit, saying, "Look, I didn't do enough with the offensive line with getting the right personnel in there." If anything, I think Poles will take the hit himself for not getting the offensive line properly prepared, properly built for this year, and he'll take that pressure off of Waldron and Eberflus.
I just want to point out too that the Raiders actually had to settle for Luke Getsy because our plan A was Cliff Kingsbury, and we had him like he had agreed to come to us, and then he backed out at the last second to go to the Commanders because they were getting Jaden Daniels. So we actually, Luke Getsy was our plan C, and I just want to point that out because
fuck you, Fred.
If we had Cliff Kingsbury, I'm not saying we'd be like first in our division, but I think we'd be better than we are currently.
Well, look, it's
Just
be
gonna
fun
point
watching
that
the
out.
Packers. We got about a minute left, not even. We might just go with no outro music today. Dude, Packers Lions. We barely even talked about it today. It's War Week. I cannot wait. Unfortunately, that game's on the same time. I hate that they do that. Same time as the Bears game. Man, that's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, that's going to be
So either Rob will be doing happy dances on Monday, or we'll have to hear from JB all day.
Either way, Rob will be here. Don't worry.
JB, yeah, or JB's going to be rubbing your face in it.
I'll be
or
here.
Fred, or
run.
Fred. Well, it's
I'm
gonna
too
be a
old
good
to
game.
run.
But hey, what's up, Chad? So, hey, look, guys, enjoy the games this weekend. It's the 1st of November. So we're into November already. Week 9, it got here fast. Enjoy the games. Don't forget, we got the open mic tomorrow night with Rob. We got the Red Zone Rant at 10 a.m. Central with Rob and Ken. And then at 11 Central, we got House Hall Report with myself, Mike, and the Bears crew before we get to game Sunday. Is there a Packer show tonight?
Yeah, there's a Packer show tonight. Frozen Thunder Network, 7 p.m.
There we go.
Hopefully
And of
Ken will
course,
be there. I don't know, man. His house is, trees are falling on him. I don't know.
So you guys, everyone enjoy the games. Please tune into the show this weekend. Rob and I, at least, hopefully Ken will be back by Monday. We'll be here Monday for what we hope will be a victory Monday for some. Let's hope it's a victory member for all the fans.